Hey team, and welcome to the video version of the Funnily Enough podcast. This is where you get the raw, unedited version of the interviews that we do on the show. If you're more of an audio person, then head over to Apple Podcasts or any of the platforms that you like that supports podcasting, and you can listen to the fully edited thing there with intros, outros, and all the fun little jingles. However, if you're more of a video person, then that is coming right up. Lisa Jenkins, welcome to the Funnily Enough show. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for
Good.
asking. Yeah, the
Good.
sun is shining now in Scotland after a crazy storm. And
Oh man, you live in a beautiful city. I'm really jealous.
you need to come back over. You
I
need to
do
come
so badly.
and we can get some whiskey. And I don't even like whiskey, but we'll pretend I like whiskey.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know, I know. But I'm willing to like it because I feel I never liked coffee until I started drinking coffee, and now I love it. And I feel the same
Yeah.
with whiskey.
Yeah, I think people need to explain what you're looking for sometimes in the glass.
Mm.
And then, when you can say, hey, this is what you're looking for, like, oh yeah, that's not so bad then.
I'm gonna. That's a good trick. I feel like I need to
Good.
drink some whiskey with whiskey drinkers, and then
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I might like it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Let's get straight to the serious questions then, shall
All
we?
right.
Would you rather have 7 fingers on each hand or 7 toes on each foot?
7 toes on each foot
Really? Why?
because I'd be more like a mermaid.
Ah, is that like a childhood dream to be like a mermaid?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I feel like I'd probably go for the feet as well because it means you can kind of cover up the wonky feet with your socks, whereas you can't really wear socks or get gloves to fit.
Oh, you'd cover them up. Oh, yeah, I'd like glitter them and cut the toes out of my shoes and be like, behold my toes.
The wonky toes just hanging out the holes of your shoes.
Yeah.
That like perfectly describes how amazing you are, Lisa. Just rocking. I feel like anything you come in contact with is you just make it amazing.
Oh,
And that's a great compliment.
that is incredibly generous of you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
come in contact with a lot of amazing stuff, so it's not hard for me.
That's
I just have to say, look at this.
that's what I'm trying to do in the podcast. Just make everyone else look amazing. Um, but let's talk about writing a little bit because I
Mhm.
think I think it's a topic you're obviously know a lot about, and it's a topic that a lot of the listeners probably do a little bit of, but could
Mhm.
definitely get better at because I certainly could. That's for sure. So, as the managing editor of Social Media Examiner, I can imagine you must get inundated with email requests and pitches and people wanting to write for the website and get involved in what Social Media Examiner do, etc., etc. What makes a pitch or a person stand out for you? So when all the emails that you get, people saying, "Can I write for Social Media Examiner?" What's the difference between you archiving an email and you actually responding and saying, "You know what? I think you'd be a good fit."
Clarity and a willingness to fit into what I'm looking for rather than serve their own agenda.
Ah. So does that, when you say that, do you mean somebody has done prior research to what you're looking for at Social Media Examiner? Or is that somebody coming to you and saying, "Hey, look, Lisa, I've got this idea for, I don't know, Google Ads blog.
Mhm.
Uh, how can I make it work for Social Media Examiner?"
So I think I probably take a little different approach than a lot of other managing editors. I talked with Andy Crestodina about this, and he was shocked at how he called me the I think he said the kindest editor on the internet because I do my best to really thoughtfully respond to everyone. Now, there is a caveat, if you're clearly spamming my inbox, with, hi, we sell red bows for Valentine's Day and 3 articles about red bows. That's clearly a spam and you have no idea who I am or what I do. But, it's very easy to look at an email or the form that we get, and see whether somebody is genuinely interested in writing for us and learning more about how that can happen, and whether or not they have some specific expertise that will be helpful to our readers. Because my job, first and foremost, is to serve our readers with the best content I can to help them do their jobs better and faster. And what I try to explain to my writers and the people who are looking to write for me is that their content needs to serve my audience, not their agenda. And
Mm.
I am I am very conscious to go back and say, this is a great pitch and it's a good idea. Can you make sure that it hits these 3 points? I have a certain level of education that I need to hit, and this can't be a pitch fest from the page because we don't allow that. um, you know we have a template that we're going to need you to fit your words into, because that's what our readers are used to. Are you willing to do that? And it's very easy to read those responses and see whether or not somebody is actually reading what I'm asking for, or whether they're just still continuing, yeah, but my blog post about meatloaf, right?
So can you, how many requests or pitches do you get, would you say percentage wise, are actually from the heart and wanting to help your audience, or there's people that have their own agenda and just want to get onto the website?
um it depends. So I get requests two ways. We have a writer's forum on our website, and
Yeah.
so those I probably take less than 1 to 2%.
Wow.
But the people that come through my inbox, that's often a higher percentage, because they are people who tend to have done their research.
Mm.
And by getting into my inbox, I don't mean spamming Phil Mershon or Eric Fisher or Mike Stelzner, because they don't make the decisions on who goes onto our website. That's my job. And if you're talking to them about getting your blog post on, in in the context of, hi Eric, can you publish my my blog post, then you don't really know what's going on, because Eric runs our social team,
Mm.
right? But if you've done the homework to get into my inbox, and you know who I am and you know what we publish, the chances are higher that
That's really
I will work
interesting.
with you.
That's so interesting. I actually would have thought it would be the other way around. I would have thought that the people going through the form would be more serious than the people just finding your email address and emailing you. So that's interesting to hear. And do you think the same goes for other big publications? So if I don't purely want to make this about just Social Media Examiner, because a
Mhm.
lot of the listeners won't be right for your audience.
Right.
Um, so in terms of other big publications, I don't know what they may be, Forbes, whatever. Do you think the same theory applies, that finding the right person, so the managing editor, and reaching out to them with a thoughtful email is the best way to go? Or, and
you
if
know
so, what does that email look like? That initial email?
I think you need to do your homework for each unique publication. We are not cookie cutter publications. Every single one of us has a unique audience, and we each have a unique publication schedule and editorial calendar, and a unique approach to how we present that content. And so if you're interested in publishing with any kind of online magazine or blog, do your due diligence.
Mm.
Give that publication and the person at the other end of that inbox your respect by understanding who they are, how to spell their name, the type of content that they publish. Don't go to, say, Social Media Examiner, who is specifically focused on social media, and pitch website design.
Yeah,
They do intersect, but that's not what we do. In the same way, don't go to like Spin Sucks, who talks about PR, and pitch a, here's how to create, you know, a, an Instagram profile, because that's not what Ginny publishes.
yeah. So understanding. I mean, it's the same as when you're writing the blog, understand the audience. In this case,
Yeah.
it's the editor of a specific publication, understand what their needs are and what the audience of that publication's needs are.
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, keep the needs of the audience in
Mhm.
sight because, I could publish tons of articles every week, but I don't. I pick 3 because those are the 3 that serve my audience. It's not about a managing editor having enough content to publish. It's about you, Gavin, coming to me and saying, "I have something that will help your audience."
Yeah.
What do you
So
think about that?
okay, so with that in mind, I think a lot of people listening will be going, okay, I get that. What are the benefits then of somebody, a business owner, entrepreneur, writing for a big publication within their space?
It depends on the publication. First and foremost, I think it's a great positioning tool.
Mm,
And, there's something very powerful about putting your thoughts and opinions and advice down in written form because you have to stand behind what you've written, right? You can't say, well, you misunderstood me or you didn't hear me correctly. It's there in text form, and so you have to be very clear and you really have to be knowledgeable on the subject about which you're writing. And if you can do that and if you can explain a complex process or a complex situation in such a way that people who don't have your level of expertise can quickly understand that, 9 times out of 10 when people are looking for help with that, they will come to you.
mm. And I want to also just add to that in that I've written for Social Media Examiner now a few good few times,
You have.
and one of the things that I love about it is obviously, like you say, the positioning aspect of it, but the amount of engagement that you get on your social channels with someone else, i.e., Social Media Examiner, publishing your content, sharing your content, like the comments and the tweets that of people sharing it or asking questions who wouldn't have otherwise been in my audience, but we've started that communication, we've started that dialogue and that relationship. It's just something that you wouldn't get if you were purely just focusing on building your own slice of the internet. So it makes sense to
Right.
go out to people like I say social media examiner, go out to people in your audience, in your area,
Yes.
and start putting your own opinion pieces or your own helpful content out onto them.
Yeah.
So Lisa, you, as well as getting probably inundated with email pitches, you probably get a lot of blog posts come. Well, I know you get a lot of blog posts coming your way from people that you have said yes to uh, and are actually writing articles for Social Media
Mhm.
Examiner. So, what are some of the, if you were to take one or two things that you see writers, and I'm going to say mistakes here, or yeah, mistakes that writers make. What's like the top one or two things that they do that you then send back and say, change this? Is it like a grammar thing? Is it bad smelling mistakes? Is it what are like the one or two things that you see happening all the time that people could easily fix?
So the first mistake that I see often, and I see it often, is you're aware that when we onboard writers, we have 2 documents that we ask you to read and sign. One of those is a legal terms document, the other one is a guidelines and template document. And they both have incredibly important information in them. And it's serious information, and it took us time and energy and money to put those documents together because they answer 99% of questions that writers ask. They also lay out exactly what I'm looking for. I need a blog post that is at least 2,000 words long. You can't link to gated work on your own website. Images have to be these specs. And yet I will continually onboard writers who then ship me back an agreed upon topic with like 453 words.
Really?
Or they will do nothing but pitch their own product
Mm,
from the page. And
really?
it frustrates me that people don't read what they sign and that they disrespect the work and time that I put into that document by making me do it sometimes 2, 3, and 4 times. The other mistake I see is people writing opinion as fact,
Hmm.
or including something that they know or should know will endanger the social profiles of our readers.
Interesting.
That is a problem, and that doesn't happen as often. And sometimes it happens because there's a change between when they delivered the article and then, like 3 days later, Facebook will make a change to their platform, right? And those things I understand, but
When you say endanger the profiles, what do you mean by that?
so there are terms of service for every
Ah, okay,
platform,
got you.
right? And 5 years ago, there were some pretty specific guidelines on how you could run contests, say on Facebook.
Yeah,
And if you went outside of those guidelines, your page could be taken down. And I can't publish that.
hmm.
I mean, I could publish it, but I won't publish it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the Social Media Examiner brand is neck is on the line, even though it was written by somebody else.
Well, it's yeah, and it is about protecting our brand, but more in the context of our job is to protect our readers.
Hmm.
We have become a trusted source of advice because we're careful about what we publish, and so we're very careful about putting something into print on the site because we don't want you to come back to us 3 months later and say, hey, I did this thing that you published and now I can't get to my LinkedIn profile, it's gone.
Yeah, yeah, and I want everybody listening to take what Lisa's saying and apply it to the industry or the space that they're in. We're obviously speaking here about social media, which is the industry that I'm in, but Lisa being the managing editor of Social Media Examiner, there's going to be managing editors of all the different publications and websites in your space, and they're going to be thinking the exact same things as what Lisa's saying here.
Absolutely.
And so I understand if some people might think, but this is only relevant to social media. It's not relevant to my industry. It definitely is.
It is relevant to every industry. Every industry has some kind of policing and overarching terms of behavior and laws that surround what they do. Every
Be,
single industry.
be a good person. Lisa,
Definitely be a good person.
Lisa, I'm going to interrupt proceedings here because we're going to play a game. The
Oh
five
boy.
second rule. Have you ever heard of it or played with it before?
No?
Okay. The rules are fairly simple. I'm going to read out 10 different statements. Those are things that I have no idea what are on these cards. And you basically have 5 seconds after each statement to give me your answer. Now, that's going to be things like name 3 types of bird or name 3 states in America. No idea, but that kind of idea. And
Okay.
you've got 5 seconds to give me your answer. Every one you get right, you get a point. If you don't get it right, you don't get a point. And you're competing against all the other guests.
Great.
Now, this is a question which is not included in the scoring. Do you want to go red cards or yellow cards?
Yellow.
Yellow's slightly harder.
Yeah, well.
Let's do it. Yellow it is. Lisa Jenkins, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Name 3 types of dances.
The tango, the waltz, and the gavotte.
Good start. Name 3 children's book titles.
Sam I Am, The Wind in the
Time.
Willows.
Time is out.
Oh,
That's how fast we're going. Name 3 ways to disguise yourself.
a mustache, color your hair, and shave my head.
Nice. That was, you said that with a lot of confidence. I feel like you've maybe had to do that before.
Shh.
Name 3 things you can catch.
A ball, a cold, and a bat.
Oh, just in time. Name 3 things you can live in.
A house, a tent, a camper.
Nice. Name 3 card games.
Pinochle, cribbage, old maid.
I've never heard of any of those, but I'm going to take your word for it. Name 3 breakfast cereals.
Weetabix, corn flakes, oatmeal.
Nice. What's your favorite?
Weetabix.
Good choice. Name 3 places with a gate.
What? A yard, a house, and a church?
I think that would work, but you were out of time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Name 3 famous American actors.
Danny Kaye, Bob Hope, and
Time is out.
mm,
Final one. Name 3 women's makeup items.
lipstick, blush, and eyeshadow.
Nice. Lisa Jenkins, you scored 7 out of 10.
I
That,
tied with Ann Handley.
that's a very, very respectable result. Congratulations.
Thanks. That was exciting. You know, it's funny. The ones I had questions or problems with are the things that I love most. 3 children's books. I'm like, well, there's 20 billion. How do I pick 3?
It's a really hard game. If you ever play it when you're competing against other people, uh, it, there's fallouts. That's all I'm going to say. There's fallouts.
Could be a
It's
problem.
yeah. It's I feel like playing the game is fun, but it also lets the listeners get a real insight to the people that are playing it because you're either like the kind of laid back, oh well, I don't care what I get, or you're like, I don't know, like going mental when you get one right or wrong.
Well, yeah, at the gate. I'm like, a gate? I don't know. I don't have gates.
Amazing. So let's carry on this conversation because I find it really, really interesting.
Mhm.
One of the things I read an article once, which was about when you're writing, try and avoid using these certain words. And the words in it were things like, and words. I can't actually remember the specific words, but they were words that took away, that made things a little bit fluffier than they need to, or they weren't
Mhm.
like as direct as they need to. So something super practical, if you can think off the top of your head, what are some words or phrases or grammar problems or things that people do from a technical point of view than when they're writing that you're like, oh, I wish people would just stop doing this.
Okay. First, I would like to start with a piece of advice when you're writing, and I actually got this advice from Liz Strauss. Um,
Yep,
Use as many words as you need and not one more.
I like it.
And I have lived by that ever since. Words that are a problem, like is a problem. Um, do X, so like this person, that that's not a sentence. Get. How to get. Get is not really the word you're looking for there. Um,
So what would you swap gets for?
how to achieve, how to convert, how to use. There are a lot of different words.
I think I'm guilty for that one.
um, that when you should be using the word who or whom.
Mm,
People that do this.
yep.
That's incorrect grammar. Um, it's small things like that, and they seem very small. The other thing is using 3 adjectives to modify a word or 3 adverbs to modify a verb. I don't need that. This isn't a creative writing
Yeah.
piece. If you're writing creative writing and you are a writer that does fiction or some type of prose that is more creative, then absolutely use those. But if you're in a business setting, that's not necessarily something that people need to read, and it wastes their time.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I love practical things. And I think every example you gave there is something I'm guilty of. So when you're editing my blogs, Lisa, I apologize. Probably getting you more
Yeah.
work than you need to do.
No, your stuff is actually very clean. And if everybody wrote perfectly, we wouldn't need editors, and then we'd all starve, and that would be sad.
That's so funny. I want to know a little bit about you now. So other than Scotland, obviously,
Mhm.
where where's a few places or what's a thing? Sorry, where's a few places or a few things that are on your bucket list other than come back to Scotland?
Morocco
Hmm.
and Serbia and
Why?
Greece.
Why are these places?
Morocco, I just feel like I need to go to the spice market and smell that.
Oh,
I really want to see that. Um, Greece because it's beautiful. I have a huge love of military history, so when I can get around places like that and see the environment in which so many things I've read about took place.
Where does that come from? The love for military history? Because I have this kind of like weird obsession with World War II as well.
I don't know. I'm a weirdo, man. I'm a huge weirdo.
Weirdos are the best types of people.
It's just there. And Serbia, I just think is beautiful. And I really love to try new foods. And we traveled, as you know, I traveled for a year last year in Europe, and we went everywhere. Um, and I found that all the places that people are afraid to go aren't really scary. It's just
Mm.
living is living wherever you are. And I just want to go everywhere. I want to
Have
go
you
everywhere.
have you ever done India?
I have not. We really thought we would get through most of Europe last year.
Mm.
We didn't plan to come back to the States. So we got cut short, and we were going to do that entire region and then head farther east.
Yeah.
So it's on the list. And
India,
Japan. Want to go to Japan?
Japan would be very cool. And I've done
Yeah,
India, and that was India is probably the biggest cultural difference in culture I've ever experienced in my life.
really.
Yeah, we were in Old Town and New Town Delhi, and the spice market. One thing was just out of this world, but just the food, like having curry for breakfast and
Oh,
curry
yeah.
and curry for dinner, was pretty epic. Uh, until the last couple of days, I was really really ill,
Oh,
um,
no.
but it was an experience, and I would recommend it as an experience for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Well, on my list. Everywhere is on my list.
Yeah, you seem quite the traveler. Where's your favorite place you've ever been so far?
Oh, my goodness. Scotland
Really?
blew me away.
Where's
I
your
have,
favorite place in Scotland then?
I really enjoyed Edinburgh,
Yeah.
um, but we got as far north as Nairn,
Hmm.
and and then we went down. We were in a small town called Clacton, just about 45 minutes north of Campbelltown.
I think I know. I think I know
It's,
based on football.
I I say town. It was I don't know,
A
10
shed.
houses in a yeah. I really loved that. You're just so close to the sea and the ocean, and the the wilderness in Scotland is just breathtaking. I just
One
yes.
place I feel, and we'll end the podcast here. One place I feel like you need to get on your bucket list is the Shetland Islands, where I'm originally from. That is, if you're into the sea
Yeah.
and Scottish culture and getting away from everything, Shetland is a pretty special place.
How is there a ferry? Do you fly? How does that work?
You can fly from all the major cities in Scotland, or
Okay.
you can get a ferry, which takes 15 hours overnight from Aberdeen.
Oh, I think I'd go ferry for sure.
Yeah, it's closer to Norway than it is Edinburgh. So
Yeah, I think actually I Facebook messaged you. I was like,
yeah,
"Do you really live here?"
yes, I'm basically a Viking.
You are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but without the beard,
without the beard and the battle axe.
and yeah, and pretty much everything.
Yeah,
The
and the super
testosterone.
cool hair.
Yeah. Lisa, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the show. Where can everyone find you? And if they want to write for Social Media Examiner, for example, what should they do?
Okay. Well, again, thank you for having me, Gavin. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's always fun to talk to you. You can find me anywhere on the internet at Lisa D. Jenkins. I am a professional lurker, so a lot of my profiles are pretty dead, and I don't talk a lot about work. If you want to email me, you can do that at lisa@socialmediaexaminer.com. And if you're interested in learning what I'm looking for in a writer, you can go to socialmediaexaminer.com/writers, and there's a form there that explains pretty much everything I'm after.
And if you listen to the podcast, go fill in that form and don't do the things that Lisa said. Yeah, you're gonna get a
Yeah.
yeah. That's all I'm gonna say is yeah. Just just yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah. Lisa, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Absolutely, Gavin. Have a fabulous day. Go enjoy that Edinburgh sunshine.
Oh, I will.
Oh, and Fringe. Go see some Fringe for me.
I will.
Thanks.
Hey team, me again, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video version of the podcast. And I hope you took something away from that. Maybe a smile, maybe something of inspiration, or maybe an idea came to your mind. Be sure to drop me a comment and let me know what that thing was for you. Now, if you want to listen to more or watch more episodes of the podcast, you can do that here on YouTube or Facebook, or head over to Apple Podcasts or the podcasting platform of your choice. Just be sure to hit subscribe, leave us a little review and a 5-star rating, and I will love you forever. See you in the next episode.